Hello, BookTube. It's Chad at IDIC Warrior Reads. Today, I thought I'd show you some of the graphic novels that I own. I had a lot more extensive collection, but these are the ones, I have it right here. These are the ones that I was able to save from our house. The others, water damage, had to throw them away. But before that, a little channel information. And first, I'd like to apologize on my light. This setup here is not the best. This is the apartment we're staying in until our house is done, which should be sometime in May. As you can see in the background here, also, I was able to, thanks to the help of my lovely wife, Marilyn. Thanks, babe. She helped organize some of my books right here, so it looks a whole lot better than it did before. Like right there is my collection of the Donald Walheim's annual Best FS. That's all my Anthony Trollops right here. Down here, the collected letters of T.S. Eliot, volume 1, 2, 3, and 4, and some of my other books right here. But I should have all my books up, and maybe I'll do a library tour or bookshelf tour eventually. But also, in terms of my channel, I'm a little busy right now, so it's probably going to be, for right now, one video a week. Next week, I'm going to have a review. A little sneak peek. I'm reading a biography of Eleanor of Aquitaine, and I'm going to be reviewing that. So let's get started. So first off, I'm going to show you my right here. These are my little short volumes. This is Star Wars Darth Vader. This is the complete run of Karen Gillan. It's 25 issues. This is volume 1 here. Volume 2. 3. And 4. And maybe I'll show you a little bit of the art. See something that's not too spoiled. I love the art on this. This is a great run. I still need to pick up basically what this is it's 25 issues, and it's set between Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, and then Empire Strikes Back, and what he was up to, Darth Vader. There's a lot of great characters that are introduced in this graphic novel. In fact, I think the star of that would have to be Dr. Aphra. She's an archaeologist and relic hunter. She works with Darth Vader. And two of her sidekicks they're basically a homicidal, serial killer-esque R2-D2 and C3PO. So, yeah. And she has her own comic now. In fact, I ordered her omnibus, and it should be here in March. It comes out in March. I pre-ordered it. Okay. So next, we're going to get to what I think is the sad part of the stuff I was able to save. These next 3 are what I like to call broken, meaning that there's multiple volumes, and I owned the multiple volumes, but I was only able to save one. The others were destroyed. So the first one, which is one of my favorites, and I'm kind of glad I was able to save, it was volume 1 that wasn't destroyed. So I can always fix and find the other ones. But these are expensive, so it might be a while. And I apologize again for the light. This is Green Lantern, the Geoff Johns run. This is volume 1. The other 2, they had 3 volumes. I had all 3 of them. The other 2, nope. So this is a great run. Let me see. This collects a lot. Collects Green Lantern Rebirth number 1 through 6, Green Lantern Corps Recharge number 1 through 5, Green Lantern number 1 through 25, Green Lantern Corps 14 through 18, Tales of the Sinestro Corps, Superman Prime number 1, Green Lantern Sinestro Corps Special number 1, Green Lantern Secret Files 2005 number 1, and excuse me, Green Lantern Sinestro Corps Secret Files number 1. Let me see if I can find you some art. I like the artwork on this. Like, look at that. I like this. So I'm going to try to eventually find maybe on cheap graphic novels eventually one day just to replace them. Now here, this next is this is a great comic. This is Invincible by Robert Kirkman. He's the one that did The Walking Dead. This is a great non DC Marvel. You know, if there's someone out there that wants to get into superheroes, but they don't want to get in all to the backstory of any Marvel character or DC, I'd recommend this. This is from Image, but this is the compendium number 2. There was 3 compendiums. I had all 3, but I was only able to save this one. It's great. It's about this teenager, Mark Grayson, and I don't want to give too many spoilers, but basically he becomes this superhero right here, Invincible. It's a great. Let me see if I can show you some art on this. Let's see. I don't want to show that. It's a little. Yeah, it is kind of, by the way, it's adult. It's graphic in terms of violence, and it's Robert Kirkman. So, yeah, I like this one. And the next one is the great manga Berserk by Kentaro Miura. This is the deluxe edition of Volume 2. I had the first 3, and the first and the third gone. So yeah, this is a great manga. It's about this knight, Guts, and he has this giant sword. It's a big sword. Yeah, I'll see if I can try to find it. But yeah, see if I can find you some art on this. It's kind of hard because this is very, as it says right there, parental advisory. It's for mature audiences only. But like, let me see, like this. Some of the artwork. It's about him and his past and him trying to escape these, finding demons and escaping these demons that are trying to get him and stuff like that. But I don't want to give too much into it, and then I can't really show too much because it is kind of mature. Okay, this next 2, now everything else after that, it's complete. Yeah, it is. So this next one is a duel. It's from a great graphic novel writer. It is Craig Thompson. I have his Blankets, and this is a classic. It's basically about his story. It's kind of autobiographical. It's early in the morning, sorry. And it's basically his story living in the Midwest with his brother and him growing up in a very fundamentalist household and him kind of exploring who he is. It's in this lovely black and white art. Let me see if I can show you. And about him falling in love. You know, it's a coming of age story. You know, like there. I'll get it. Yeah, it's kind of like that. And yeah, I'll just read what it says right here. It says, wrapped in the snowfall of a blustery Midwestern winter, Craig Thompson's graphic novel memoir interweaves a coming-of-age high school romance with a tale of 2 brothers growing up in rural isolation. The young Arthur wrestles with bullies, unravels his faith, searches for security, and finds his creative voice in this singular and utterly beautiful work. So yeah, I really would highly recommend this. It's Craig Thompson's Blankets. Another one by him is Habibi. Now just look at this cover art. Isn't that beautiful? Look at the sides right here. And I'll just tell you a little bit about this one. Sprawling across an epic landscape of deserts, harems, and modern industrial clutter, Habibi tells us tale of Dodola and Zam, refugee child slaves bound to each other by chance, by circumstances, and by the love that grows between them. At once contemporary and timeless, Habibi gives us a love story of astounding resonance, a parable about our relationship to the natural world, the cultural divide between the first and third worlds, the common heritage of Christianity and Islam, and most potently, the magic of storytelling. Now, this gets into some graphic content also, warning. Let me see if I can find something that I can show you here. Artwork. Like here. So this is great. I recommend this. The only thing is, I think this was kind of, you'll have to look it up. I forgot. This was a little controversial. Um, I forgot what the problem was, but I didn't find, I mean, I could see what they're talking about. It could be, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, you just might want to check it out first before you get it. Next, we have, and I just got this by the way. I'm starting to read this one. It's Fables, Compendium 1 by Bill Willingham. This is kind of what, when you think about it, the TV show Once Upon a Time on ABC kind of copied, I guess. I don't know if they really copied it, but it's kind of the basic premise. Okay, so I'll read a little bit on the back of it. It says, when the villainous creature known as the Adversary conquered the Fable homelands, characters from famous folklore were displaced and forced to go into hiding as everyday citizens in modern day New York City. Now these fables reside in a secret magical community of Upper West Side luxury apartment buildings known as Fabletown. When Snow White's sister Rose Red goes missing, Sheriff Bigby Wolf jumps on the case to solve the mystery and ease minds of the residents of Fabletown. Meanwhile, many miles from Fabletown in upstate New York live countless non-human fables who have found refuge on the farm, but a dangerous conspiracy sparks unrest for this magical society. And there also was I played it. It was a pretty good video game from Telltale Games. They did this one. So it was The Wolf. It was The Wolf Among Us. I think it might have been called. I could be wrong on that. But let's see if I can show you some art in here. The artwork kind of looks like this. It's kind of hard to show on this camera, but you can kind of get the idea. So that's Fables, Compendium 1 by Mark, Bill Willingham, Mark Buckingham, Steve Lealoha, Lan Medina, and James Jean. Up next, we have, everybody should know this one. Maybe not, I don't know. It's The Great Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. This came out last year, I think. This is the compendium. And so this collects everything up to, what does it say? Collects Saga 1 through 54. And after 54, they took a hiatus. I think it's been 2 years. And when they come back, they are going to finish it. And it's going to be, I think it's going to end up being 108 issues. And then so in the end, when this is all done, you can just own this in 2 compendiums. And it will be in these lovely compendiums. And basically, it's kind of like space opera, Star Wars. It's a love story, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet. You have these 2 warring factions of lovers that end up loving each other. They end up having a baby, and the baby's kind of like a hybrid between the 2 races. And so their parents are trying to protect this baby because both sides want the baby. They want to kill the baby because of the child. And it's told from her point of view. like many years later, she's narrating her story. Her name is Hazel, and so it's very very another. It is graphic, but let me see if I can show you something from it. Like, let me see. Like over here, just look at that character right here. See, interesting. It's Prince Robot, and his people have TVs for heads. And you have this girl over here. She's like a ghost, and she's babysitting Hazel, and she's just got half a body. So this is, I highly recommend this. It's Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Next is another Brian K. Vaughan. I love him. It's this big omnibus edition of Ex Machina, and it's basically the mayor wore a jetpack when a strange accident gives civil engineer Mitchell Hundred the amazing ability to control machinery. He uses his newfound powers to become the world's first living, breathing superhero. But the thrill of risking his life simply to help maintain the status quo eventually wears thin, leading Mitch to retire from mass crime fighting in order to run for mayor of New York City, an election he wins by a landslide. And that's when the real weirdness begins. I'm not going to read any more of that because I don't want to spoil it. So, get this up there. This is the back. Let's show you the art from this. I'll tell you who the artist is. Give credit where credit's due. The penciler is Tony Harris. Inkers are Tom Feister, Jim Clark. Colorist is J.D. Mettler. Okay, let's look at this art. It's kind of hard to show, I know. So I highly recommend this. Brian K. Vaughan, Tony Harris, Ex Machina. It's the complete edition, has everything. It's the complete run. It's a complete comic. It's an omnibus. Next, another great one by Brian K. Vaughan. As you can tell, I'm a fan of his. This big boy. Y the Last Man. It's by Brian K. Vaughan, Pia Guerrera, Jose Marzan Jr., and Goran Sudzuka. Basically, it's a world without men. In 2002, the world changes forever. Every man, every boy, every mammal with a Y chromosome, every on Earth suddenly collapses and dies. And that's all I'm going to tell you. And chaos ensues. They're also making I think it's FX, is finally making a television adaptation. I'm a little leery. You know how television adaptations can go. But we'll see. I'll give it a chance. You know, Sci-Fi did pretty good, and Amazon did good with The Expanse, so we'll see. Let me show you some art from this. Try to find something interesting. Now watch, I won't be able to find anything. It's going to take forever. Oh, let's just show you this. And you have right there, great artwork. It's Y the Last Man by Brian K. Vaughan and Pia Guerrera, Jose Marzan Jr., and Goran Sudzuka. Okay, the last one, my favorite in this collection, is the great Grant Morrison's The Invisibles. Look at that cover. I love this cover so much. This is every issue. In the back it says, "This is how the world ends." Let's see if I can explain. It's kind of hard to explain the Invisibles. A word of warning: this is very, it's Grant Morrison. So, okay. What if they gave a war and nobody saw? What if you suddenly discovered that it was happening all around you? Would you pick sides, take up arms? Would you kill? Or would you try to run, try to hide, try to deny the whole thing? For a young man named Jack Frost, these abstract questions are about to become terrifyingly concrete. The intertwining tendrils of an extra-dimensional apocalypse are reaching out to engulf him, to pull him into a conflict so ancient and all-encompassing that it has molded the very shape of our universe. On one side is the crushing, soul-rending orthodoxy of the conspiracy, spelled with a big C. On the other is the anarchic, radical freedom of the invisibles. One makes the world what it is, while the other shows the world what it might be. Both of them want to know just one thing. Which side are you on? So this is great. Let me see if I can show you some more. I love the artwork in this. Artwork, for me, is kind of a defining factor if I'm going to like a story or not. That's just how I am. Okay. It's kind of hard to show this. This thing is very heavy. So this is The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. The art is by, that's one thing I didn't check. Let me see. The cover artist is Brian Bollard. And there's all kinds of artists. The colorist, Kevin Sommers, Rick Taylor, Daniel Voza. You have the letterers, Ellie DeVille, Todd Klein, Annie Parkhouse, Kim Robbins. The original series covers, because they have those in here, is Brian Boland, Brian Hughes, and Sean Phillips. So, I highly recommend this. The Invisibles by Grant Morrison. This is from Vertigo. Alright, guys. Sorry for that rambly video. So, this is kind of a long one. Oh my goodness, 23 minutes. Oh, I better get out of here. I'm ending up like Steve Donahue. You don't want to see 1 hour of me. So, thank you for joining in with my graphic haul collection. So, I'll see you in my next video. Thank you, BookTube.